Google Gemini just launched a bunch of brand new updates that are mind-blowing. They released a brand new model. They released changes to NotebookLM, and so much more. By the end of this video, you'll know what all of these changes are, how to access them, and what new use cases they unlock. Now, the first update that we need to discuss is actually going to be the NotebookLM. And let's say that we were operating inside of this Great Depression notebook right here. You're now going to see that if we come into infographics, you can now choose between a bunch of different visual styles. And they have tons of them available. Sketch, professional, anime, clay, and so much more. Then we can actually go through and describe what we want to create. For example, I'm going to choose instructional right here, level of detail. We're going to click on standard right here. We could see we have concise, standard, and detailed. Then we could describe what we actually want to create. I'm actually going to click on concise right here. We're going to click generate. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same exact thing again. We're going to come over to instructional. I'm going to click on detailed. I'm not giving it any other advice because I want to actually compare these two so that you guys get a live example of what the difference is. And again, you can now choose between all of these different visual styles, which is really the biggest upgrade. Okay, so now we can actually see that both of these were created right here. And this right here is going to be the concise one. So we could see that this is super concise. It's super colorful. And this looks awesome. Now, the next one here is going to be super detailed. As we can see, this one is way more complicated. It put way more on here. I personally think the concise one is better if you're going to be sharing it on social media or sharing it with somebody, because the real test of intelligence is how concise you can make something. Now, the second update I want to show you is that Google has officially released Gemini 3.1 Flash. If we jump over here to the normal Gemini interface and look at the model selector, you'll notice something interesting. Right now, it just shows Flash, and under Pro, it shows Gemini 3.1 Pro. So if you actually want to access Gemini 3.1 Flash, you need to go over to Google AI Studio. Once you're here, if we click right here, open chat, and then go to explore all models, we can scroll through and select all models. And right here, you'll see it, Gemini 3.1 Flashlight Preview. Once you select this, it lets you start using the model directly inside this chat interface. Now, if we look over on the right-hand side, you'll see that you get a lot of controls. You can add system instructions, adjust the temperature, change the media resolution, and even control the thinking level with options like minimal, low, medium, or high. On top of that, there are additional capabilities you can enable, such as structured outputs, code execution, function calling, rounding with Google search, and URL context. And if we open advanced settings, you'll see all of those options available there as well. Now, the reason this model is so interesting is because of the performance and pricing comparison. If we look at this chart, we can compare Gemini 3.1 Flashlight with Gemini 2.5 Flash, along with other models like Grok, Claude, and GPT Mini. And what you'll notice right away is that this model is extremely cheap to run. The input price is very low, the output price is very low, and overall it's one of the most affordable models available. At the same time, it's also one of the fastest models, while still performing very well on benchmarks like Humanity's Last Exam and other evaluation tests. So what Google has essentially done here is combine the power of Gemini 3 with the speed of a Flash model and deliver it in one package. And what that means for you is if you're running apps, automations, or AI tools, this is probably the model you want to switch to. It's going to be faster, more cost-effective, and overall more efficient for most workloads. In fact, right after recording this video, I'm probably going to go update all of my apps to start using this model. And if you ever want to compare this model to other Gemini models, you can simply click Compare Models up here. This lets you select another model, enter the same prompt, and directly compare the outputs side by side. You can even add multiple models if you want to test several at the same time. Now, the next upgrade I want to show you isn't tied to just one AI model. This is something you can use with Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, really any AI tool. What I'm talking about is the My Prompt Buddy Prompt Optimizer Chrome extension. This is something I would highly recommend installing because it makes working with prompts way easier. For example, you can create shortcuts for prompts that you use frequently. If you have prompts you rely on all the time, you can store them here and instantly access them instead of rewriting them every time. You can simply open the extension, grab the prompt you want, and paste it directly into your chat. That alone can save a huge amount of time. But the more powerful feature is the prompt optimizer itself. If we click over to the prompt optimizer, you'll see that you can choose the type of prompt you want to create. For example, you can select a standard prompt, a reasoning prompt, or even prompts designed specifically for videos or images. From there, you just paste in your current prompt, which is usually a very simple version of what you want. Then you can describe the ideal output, click Optimize Prompt, and the tool will rewrite your prompt to make it significantly more effective. And this matters because at the end of the day, the quality of the results you get from tools like Gemini depends heavily on the quality of your prompt. Whether you're generating images, writing content, doing research, or building something with AI, the prompt is what determines how good the output will be. And if we compare the two prompts here, you can see the difference immediately. The original prompt is very basic, something like a futuristic Ford GT based on the 2020 model. But the optimized prompt is far more detailed. It adds things like artistic influences, framing, lighting, atmosphere, and technical details to guide the model much more precisely. It even includes a negative prompt, which is extremely important because it tells the model what not to generate. And that helps prevent unwanted elements from appearing in the final result. Tools like this make it much easier to consistently get higher quality outputs from AI without having to spend hours figuring out the perfect prompt. If you want to try My Prompt Buddy for yourself, you should go to the pinned comment below and register for free. This tool is going to help you get 10x more out of Gemini and any other AI models you're using by improving your prompts. Now, the next update I want to show you is actually inside Google Stitch right here. If you're not familiar with Stitch yet, this is a tool that lets you design just about anything visually using AI. For example, you can create UI layouts, design apps, build website mockups, and basically map out any type of interface you want. All you have to do is come over here, describe what you want to build, whether that's an app or a website, and Stitch will automatically generate the design for you. Now, the big change they recently added is what happens after the design is created. Let's say we generate something like this layout right here and we want to make changes to it. Instead of starting over, we can now come up here, click modify, hit edit, and then directly adjust anything inside the design. And this is a massive improvement because it makes the whole process way faster. Instead of manually redesigning everything, you can simply describe the change you want to make, let the AI update it, and instantly refine the layout. On top of that, if we come over here to export, we now have several options. We can export this directly into AI Studio, copy the code to the clipboard, plug it into MCP, or immediately start building it out. You can also preview the design in a new tab and instantly see how it looks on mobile, tablet, or desktop, which makes testing layouts incredibly easy. And like I showed you earlier, under Modify, you also have additional options like edit, annotate, and design systems. You can generate multiple design variations, create a predictive heat map, or even regenerate the layout entirely. And honestly, this completely changes the design process because Stitch is free, and tools like this basically turn anyone into a professional app or website designer, which means when you go and use these designs and the tools you're vibe coding with, everything instantly looks way more polished and professional. Now, the next update I want to show you is also inside Google AI Studio. So if we head back to the home screen, come into chat, and then open this section right here, we can switch over to images. Once you do that, you'll see Nano Banana 2 available here. Now, in order to actually use it, you do need to connect an API key, but Nano Banana 2 recently received a pretty major upgrade. If we look over on the right-hand side, you'll notice we now have multiple output options. You can choose image and text, or you can switch it to image only if you just want the visual without any written explanation. But that's not even the biggest update. If we scroll down a little bit, you'll see that you can now choose the aspect ratio, and they added a lot more options than before. You can also adjust the resolution here. Personally, I recommend setting this to 4K whenever possible. It does take slightly longer for the image to generate, but the quality difference is definitely worth it. You can also control the thinking level, which ranges from minimal all the way up to high. If you're generating something more complex, it's usually better to set this higher so the model spends more time reasoning through the image. But the really important feature they just added is this new image search toggle right here. When you turn this on, Nano Banana will actually perform a Google image search for whatever you're trying to generate. And the way this works is pretty interesting. Google shows an example app called Window Seat, which demonstrates how Nano Banana 2 can use web image search knowledge. Basically, if the model isn't completely sure what something should look like, it can go out, search for reference images on the web, and then use those references to generate a more accurate result. So for example, if you asked it to generate something like a window seat on an airplane, it could look up real examples online and use those as references while creating the final image. And this is a huge upgrade because most image generation tools don't do anything like this. What it means is Nano Banana can generate better visuals faster because it can reference real-world images instead of relying entirely on internal training data. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that subscribe button to see my next videos where I'll teach you more about the latest and greatest AI updates.